The Real Story of Oppenheimer, A Life Shaped by Science and Shadows. The name Robert Oppenheimer has become synonymous with one of the most significant and terrifying achievements in human history, the creation of the atomic bomb. As the scientific director of the Manhattan Project, Oppenheimer played a pivotal role in developing the weapon that would bring an end to World War II and usher in the nuclear age. But beyond the title of "Father of the Atomic Bomb," the story of Oppenheimer is one of profound complexity, marked by intellectual brilliance, moral dilemmas, and a tragic fall from grace. Early life and education. Born on April 22, 1904, in New York City, Julius Robert Oppenheimer was the son of wealthy Jewish immigrants. His father, Julius Oppenheimer, was a successful textile importer, and his mother, Ella Friedman, was a painter. From a young age, Robert showed an exceptional aptitude for learning. He attended the Ethical Culture School in New York, where he was exposed to a progressive education that emphasized ethical and social responsibility, values that would later deeply influence his life. Oppenheimer's academic journey led him to Harvard University, where he studied chemistry and eventually gravitated towards physics. He completed his undergraduate degree in 3 years, earning a reputation as a prodigious scholar. He then pursued graduate studies at the University of Cambridge in England and later at the University of Göttingen in Germany, where he worked with some of the most prominent physicists of the time, including Max Born and Niels Bohr. It was during this period that Oppenheimer developed a deep understanding of quantum mechanics, laying the foundation for his future contributions to theoretical physics. The Manhattan Project. In 1942, as World War II raged on, the U.S. government launched the Manhattan Project, a top-secret initiative to develop an atomic bomb. Oppenheimer was appointed the scientific director of the project, a role that would define his legacy. He assembled a team of some of the brightest minds in science at the Los Alamos Laboratory in New Mexico, where they worked tirelessly to design and build the bomb. Under Oppenheimer's leadership, the team achieved what many thought was impossible. On July 16, 1945, the first atomic bomb was successfully tested in the New Mexico desert, a moment that Oppenheimer later recalled with a quote from the Bhagavad Gita, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 brought the war to an end, but the moral and ethical implications of these events would haunt Oppenheimer for the rest of his life. Moral dilemmas and the post-war period. After the war, Oppenheimer became a leading voice in the debate over nuclear weapons and their role in international politics. He was appointed chairman of the General Advisory Committee to the Atomic Energy Commission, where he advocated for the control of nuclear weapons and opposed the development of the hydrogen bomb, a weapon far more destructive than the atomic bomb. Oppenheimer's stance on nuclear weapons put him at odds with powerful figures in the government and military, particularly Edward Teller, a fellow physicist and advocate for the hydrogen bomb. The tension culminated in a series of events that led to Oppenheimer's public humiliation. The fall from grace. In 1954, Oppenheimer's loyalty to the United States was called into question during a highly publicized hearing by the Atomic Energy Commission. He was accused of having communist sympathies, stemming from his associations with left-wing intellectuals and activists during the 1930s. Despite his contributions to the war effort, Oppenheimer was stripped of his security clearance, effectively ending his influence in the field of nuclear policy. The hearing was widely viewed as a political witch hunt, driven by Cold War paranoia and personal vendettas. Oppenheimer was not charged with any crime, but the damage to his reputation was profound. He withdrew from public life and returned to academia, where he continued to work on theoretical physics, though his days as a central figure in national security were over. Legacy and reflections. Robert Oppenheimer's life was one of extraordinary contrasts. He was a brilliant scientist whose work changed the course of history, but he was also a man plagued by doubts and regrets about the consequences of his achievements. The atomic bomb brought an end to a brutal war, but it also introduced the world to the horrors of nuclear warfare, a burden that Oppenheimer carried until his death in 1967. In the years since his death, Oppenheimer's legacy has been the subject of much debate. Some view him as a tragic hero, a man who achieved greatness but was ultimately undone by the moral complexities of his work. Others see him as a cautionary figure, a reminder of the dangers of scientific ambition unchecked by ethical considerations. The real story of Oppenheimer is not just about the creation of the atomic bomb. It is about the human condition, the struggle between knowledge and morality, and the enduring impact of one man's life on the world. Oppenheimer's story is a testament to the power of science to shape history, but it is also a sobering reminder of the responsibilities that come with that power. As we continue to grapple with the legacy of the nuclear age, Oppenheimer's life serves as a poignant reflection on the complex interplay between science, ethics, and the human experience. The moral and ethical implications that haunted Robert Oppenheimer after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were profound and multifaceted. These implications revolved around the immense destructive power of the atomic bomb, the loss of civilian lives, the role of science in warfare, and the broader consequences for humanity. 1. The immense destructive power of the bomb. The atomic bomb was unlike any weapon ever created. Its ability to obliterate entire cities in an instant was a stark departure from conventional warfare. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki resulted in the deaths of over 200,000 people, most of them civilians, and left survivors suffering from long-term radiation effects. Oppenheimer was acutely aware that he had played a central role in unleashing this unprecedented level of destruction, and this weighed heavily on his conscience. 2. Loss of civilian lives. The bombings caused indiscriminate destruction, killing men, women, and children, and wiping out entire communities. The ethical dilemma of using such a weapon against civilian populations was a major source of Oppenheimer's torment. He struggled with the idea that the scientific knowledge he had pursued so passionately had been used to cause immense human suffering. 3. The role of science in warfare. Oppenheimer's work on the atomic bomb marked a turning point in the relationship between science and warfare. He had always been deeply committed to the pursuit of knowledge, but the Manhattan Project blurred the line between scientific discovery and military application. The realization that scientific advancements could lead to such catastrophic outcomes troubled him deeply, raising questions about the responsibility of scientists in the context of war. 4. The nuclear arms race. After the war, Oppenheimer became a vocal advocate for the control of nuclear weapons. He recognized that the success of the Manhattan Project had initiated a nuclear arms race, with nations competing to develop even more powerful weapons. The development of the hydrogen bomb, which Oppenheimer opposed, was a direct consequence of the atomic bomb's success. He feared that this arms race could lead to global annihilation, and this fear added to his sense of moral responsibility for the consequences of his work. 5. The ethical dilemma of scientific progress. Oppenheimer was deeply troubled by the ethical implications of scientific progress when it is divorced from moral considerations. The atomic bomb was a product of human ingenuity, but its creation raised fundamental questions about the role of science in society. Oppenheimer grappled with whether it was possible to pursue knowledge for its own sake without considering the potential for that knowledge to be used for harm. 6. Personal guilt and regret. Oppenheimer often expressed feelings of personal guilt and regret about his role in the development of the atomic bomb. His famous quote from the Bhagavad Gita, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds," reflects his deep internal conflict. He understood that while the bomb had ended World War II, it had also opened the door to a new era of potential destruction. This realization haunted him for the rest of his life, leading to a profound sense of regret about the choices he had made. 7. Impact on humanity. Oppenheimer was also concerned about the broader impact of the atomic bomb on humanity. He feared that the bomb had changed the nature of human conflict, making future wars potentially more catastrophic. The ethical implications of living in a world where such weapons existed troubled him, as he believed that the very survival of humanity could be at stake. The moral and ethical implications that haunted Oppenheimer after the bombings were rooted in his deep understanding of the destructive power of the atomic bomb and his sense of responsibility for its creation. His internal conflict over the use of scientific knowledge for destructive purposes, coupled with the immense human suffering caused by the bombings, left him with a lasting sense of guilt and regret. These issues not only shaped his post-war views and actions but also cemented his legacy as a complex and tragic figure in the history of science and warfare. Oppenheimer's personal life, a complex web of relationships and inner struggles. While Robert Oppenheimer is primarily known for his monumental contributions to science and his role in the development of the atomic bomb, his personal life was equally complex, filled with intense relationships, inner turmoil, and a constant search for meaning. Early influences and intellectual development. Oppenheimer was born into a wealthy and cultured family, where his intellectual curiosity was nurtured from an early age. His father, Julius Oppenheimer, was a successful textile importer, and his mother, Ella Friedman, was an artist with a keen interest in culture and education. This environment allowed young Robert to explore a wide range of interests, from literature to science, setting the stage for his later achievements. Despite his privileged upbringing, Oppenheimer's childhood was not without its challenges. He was a sensitive and introspective child, often feeling isolated from his peers due to his intellectual precocity. This sense of isolation would continue to affect him throughout his life, contributing to his complex personality and his struggles with mental health. One early anecdote that highlights Oppenheimer's brilliance in social difficulties comes from his time at Harvard University. A classmate once recalled how Oppenheimer, after reading a book on thermodynamics, reportedly approached his professor and said, "It is too easy for me. It is not interesting." This incident illustrates both his exceptional intellect and the challenges he faced in finding peers who could match his intellectual curiosity. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe to support this channel. Please share across social media platforms to reach a wider audience. Romantic relationships and marriage. Oppenheimer's romantic life was marked by intense and often tumultuous relationships. In the early 1930s, he became romantically involved with Jean Tatlock, a brilliant and troubled medical student with communist sympathies. Tatlock was a significant influence on Oppenheimer, introducing him to leftist politics and literature. Their relationship was passionate but fraught with difficulties, largely due to Tatlock's ongoing battle with depression. Her tragic suicide in 1944 deeply affected Oppenheimer, leaving him with a lingering sense of loss and guilt. In 1940, Oppenheimer married Catherine "Kitty" Puning, a biologist and former Communist Party member. Kitty was a strong-willed and unconventional woman, and their marriage was often stormy. The couple had 2 children, Peter and Catherine, known as Tony, but their relationship was far from idyllic. Kitty struggled with alcoholism, and Oppenheimer's demanding work on the Manhattan Project left little time for family life. Despite their challenges, Kitty stood by Oppenheimer during the most difficult periods of his life, including his public disgrace during the McCarthy era. In a private moment, Oppenheimer reportedly told a friend, "She has given me strength when I had none." This quote reflects the deep, albeit often strained, bond between them. Oppenheimer's inner life was marked by a deep sense of conflict and introspection. He was known for his intense intellectualism, but this often masked a fragile emotional state. Throughout his life, he experienced periods of severe depression, exacerbated by the immense pressures of his work and the moral dilemmas he faced. In a letter to his brother Frank, Oppenheimer once confessed, "I need physics more than friends. It's not that I lack friends, but the solitude of science allows me to escape from the chaos of my thoughts." This quote reveals the extent to which Oppenheimer relied on his work as a means of coping with his inner turmoil. His emotional struggles were reflected in his relationships with others. While admired for his brilliance, Oppenheimer could be distant and aloof, and his colleagues often found him difficult to understand. His tendency to retreat into himself during times of stress made him appear enigmatic and sometimes cold, even to those closest to him. Oppenheimer's inner life was characterized by a constant search for meaning and a profound sense of responsibility for the consequences of his work. His famous quote from the Bhagavad Gita, "Now I am become death," the destroyer of worlds, spoken after witnessing the first successful test of the atomic bomb, encapsulates the profound moral dilemma he faced. This quote, which he repeated in various forms throughout his life, reveals the deep internal conflict he felt about the weapon he had helped create. The search for meaning. Oppenheimer's intellectual pursuits extended beyond science. He was deeply interested in philosophy, literature, and Eastern spirituality, particularly the Bhagavad Gita, which he famously quoted after the Trinity test. This search for meaning was a source of strength and a reflection of his inner turmoil. Oppenheimer's fascination with the Bhagavad Gita and other philosophical texts was indicative of his ongoing struggle to reconcile his scientific achievements with his moral and ethical beliefs. His interest in Eastern philosophy, particularly the concept of karma and the cyclical nature of life and death, provided him with a framework to grapple with the ethical implications of his work on the atomic bomb. However, these philosophical explorations also deepened his sense of existential unease, as he wrestled with the consequences of his contributions to the creation of a weapon of mass destruction. In a lecture given after the war, Oppenheimer reflected on the moral implications of scientific discovery, stating, in some sort of crude sense, which no vulgarity, no humor, no overstatement can quite extinguish, the physicists have known sin. And this is a knowledge which they cannot lose. This quote encapsulates the deep sense of guilt and responsibility that haunted Oppenheimer. His search for meaning was not just an abstract philosophical pursuit but a personal struggle to come to terms with the moral consequences of his work. Legacy of a troubled genius. Oppenheimer's personal life, marked by intense relationships, intellectual brilliance, and profound inner struggles, is a testament to the complexity of the man behind the atomic bomb. His ability to compartmentalize his personal and professional lives allowed him to achieve great things, but it also left him vulnerable to emotional and psychological distress. In the end, Oppenheimer's life was a mosaic of contradictions. He was a man of science who sought spiritual solace, a public figure who was deeply private, and a patriot who was later branded a traitor. These contradictions make his story not just one of historical significance, but also one of profound human interest. His legacy is not only that of a brilliant scientist but also of a man who grappled with the moral and ethical dilemmas of his time, leaving behind a story that continues to resonate with the complexities of the human experience. In the end, Oppenheimer's legacy is not just that of the father of the atomic bomb, but also that of a man who, in his own words, carried the burden of knowledge, with a profound sense of responsibility and regret. His story is a reminder that even the most brilliant minds are not immune to the complexities of the human experience and that the pursuit of knowledge is often intertwined with the search for moral and philosophical truth. Oppenheimer's scientific contributions, pioneering theoretical physics and shaping modern science. While Robert Oppenheimer is most famously known for his role in the Manhattan Project, his contributions to theoretical physics extend far beyond his work on the atomic bomb. A brilliant and versatile scientist, Oppenheimer made significant advances in various areas of physics, particularly in quantum mechanics, quantum field theory, and the early study of black holes. His work not only shaped the scientific community of his time but also laid the groundwork for future discoveries that continue to influence modern science. Quantum mechanics and the Born-Oppenheimer approximation. One of Oppenheimer's earliest and most significant contributions to theoretical physics was the development of the Born-Oppenheimer approximation, a method he co-authored with Max Born in 1927. This approximation is a key concept in quantum chemistry and molecular physics, allowing scientists to separate the motion of nuclei and electrons in molecules when solving the Schrödinger equation. The Born-Oppenheimer approximation simplifies complex molecular calculations by assuming that the nuclei in a molecule move much more slowly than the electrons due to their greater mass. This separation of nuclear and electronic motion has become a fundamental tool in the study of molecular systems, enabling more accurate predictions of molecular behavior and interactions. The impact of this work is still felt today, as it remains a cornerstone in the fields of quantum chemistry and computational physics. Quantum electrodynamics and field theory. Oppenheimer also made important contributions to quantum electrodynamics, QED, the theory that describes how light and matter interact at the quantum level. In the early 1930s, Oppenheimer worked on the problem of electron-positron pair production, a process in which a photon transforms into an electron and a positron, the antiparticle of the electron. His work helped clarify the theoretical underpinnings of this phenomenon, contributing to the broader understanding of particle physics. In addition, Oppenheimer was instrumental in the development of quantum field theory, which combines quantum mechanics with special relativity to describe how particles interact and create fields. His research in this area provided key insights into the behavior of particles at high energies, laying the groundwork for later developments in particle physics and the study of fundamental forces. Neutron stars and black holes, early work on astrophysics. Oppenheimer's contributions to theoretical physics extended into astrophysics, where he made pioneering advances in the study of neutron stars and black holes. In 1939, along with his student George Volkoff, Oppenheimer published a groundbreaking paper that predicted the existence of neutron stars, dense remnants of massive stars that have undergone supernova explosions. Later that same year, Oppenheimer and another student, Hartland Snyder, published a seminal paper on gravitational collapse, the process by which massive stars collapse under their gravity to form black holes. Their work provided the first theoretical description of what is now known as a black hole, an object so dense that not even light can escape its gravitational pull. This research was revolutionary, as it introduced the concept of black holes into mainstream physics and astrophysics. Although black holes were initially considered a theoretical curiosity, Oppenheimer's work laid the foundation for what would become one of the most important and active areas of research in modern astrophysics. Today, black holes are recognized as a fundamental aspect of our understanding of the universe, with implications for everything from galaxy formation to the study of quantum gravity. Mentorship and influence on future physicists. In addition to his direct contributions to theoretical physics, Oppenheimer played a crucial role as a mentor and educator. As a professor at the University of California, Berkeley, and later as the director of the Institute for Advanced Study at Princeton, Oppenheimer influenced a generation of young physicists who would go on to make significant contributions to science. Oppenheimer's teaching style was characterized by its intensity and intellectual rigor. He was known for challenging his students to think deeply and critically about complex problems, often leading them to new insights and discoveries. Many of his students, including Nobel laureates such as Richard Feynman and Hans Bethe, credited Oppenheimer with shaping their scientific careers and fostering an environment of creativity and collaboration. Legacy in theoretical physics. Oppenheimer's scientific legacy is vast and enduring. His work in quantum mechanics, quantum field theory, and astrophysics not only advanced our understanding of the physical world but also set the stage for future discoveries that continue to shape modern science. His contributions to the study of black holes have become a cornerstone of astrophysics, influencing research in cosmology, general relativity, and quantum theory. Moreover, Oppenheimer's intellectual influence extended beyond his specific research contributions. His ability to synthesize ideas from different areas of physics and his commitment to exploring the philosophical implications of scientific knowledge left a lasting impact on the scientific community. He was not only a brilliant physicist but also a thinker who grappled with the broader meaning of his work, seeking to understand the role of science in society and the ethical responsibilities of scientists. Robert Oppenheimer's contributions to theoretical physics were as profound as they were diverse. From the Born-Oppenheimer approximation to the early study of black holes, his work laid the groundwork for many of the advancements that followed in quantum mechanics, astrophysics, and beyond. His intellectual brilliance, combined with his deep sense of moral responsibility, has left a legacy that continues to inspire and challenge scientists to this day. Oppenheimer's story is not only one of scientific achievement but also of a relentless pursuit of knowledge, driven by a desire to understand both the physical world and the ethical implications of that understanding. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe to our channel for more self-improvement videos. Comment below to tell us how useful you found this video. Remember to share on various social media platforms to reach a wider audience. Click the notification bell to get notified anytime we post a new video. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.